Next Level Contractor Podcast. And
Woo!
I'm here with
Rachel Ryan.
Rachel Ryan, and what is your company name?
The Middle of In Between.
The Middle of In Between, and we are doing it every Monday at 7 a.m. with no bullshit. And we are helping small businesses and construction companies be more profitable with better leads and better systems. And today we're talking about how to get comfortable on video and pairing events with video. And I just put out a long post, or actually it's not that long, but a post on LinkedIn about how I think video is the #1 thing people should be investing in for 2020. And I kind of go through some objections. I think some people I think they would be a little bit confused because video has been around for a while.
It's been around for a long time.
But why is video kind of reaching ahead right now? Why is video becoming not a nice to have anymore, but basically crucial? Yes.
Yes. One of the main things I think is there's a lot of visual learners out there, and when you can visually see something, I think that makes all the difference in the world. We want to be entertained. Who does not want to be entertained?
I want to be entertained all the time. Even by the educational stuff, I want to be entertained, and I expect it nowadays.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, that being said, video is huge in 2020. Video has been huge for the last couple of years, but it's reaching ahead, and people are starting to expect it from your company. And the easiest way to do video is talking head video. Because you can just turn on a camera and start telling people what you know. You can tell people what's funny. You can tell people how your day's going. You can do some behind the scenes stuff. You can do whatever. You can just document, right? You don't have to necessarily always create. You can just document. But what are some of your best tips for getting comfortable on camera? Because that's probably the first objection a lot of people have.
Getting comfortable on camera is as simple as the commonality. Why are you going on camera to talk with someone? Why are you in the same room as someone? What is your main message? And if you have a go-to that other people can relate to for what you're speaking to, that right there is going to be the hook. And if another thing that helps is it's got to be a natural conversation. If it's not natural, if you're pushing it, people can tell. It's that gut feeling of, am I doing this for the right reasons?
Yeah.
And if you have to ask that, you're probably not doing it for the right reasons. Some people are super natural on camera. I feel super natural on camera. I always have. I don't know if it's like a weird gene or whatever that I have, but I'm lucky in the sense.
With this light behind you, you look supernatural on camera.
But I mean, you know, all jokes aside, for me, I'm a natural communicator, and I like to explain things to people. I was told that I should have gone to school to be a teacher because I'm so good at helping other people figure out, you know, what are you trying to do? What is the main goal? What is your end goal? How are you going to get there? What are the steps you're going to take? So
ask, if you're doing 2-person video or whatever, I think good questions, right?
Good questions.
And I think there's nothing wrong with telling the person that you're working with if they want to write down some questions, right? Because you were saying you've done events where there's been a little bit of difficulty where you don't know really what to ask them. And there's nothing wrong with being like, all right, so can you write down a couple questions that you feel like you could speak to?
Yeah.
And that helps a lot. I think, like, as far as if it's you, I think one thing is that if you're selling all the time, right, then it's hard to do a good video because, first of all, people will tune you out. I'm not saying that you should never sell, but I think it's kind of a muscle to get good at being like, what can I say that's going to be useful to this audience?
Yes.
What is the audience? I think that's a really good question. What is the audience? So this audience for this podcast, we got small businesses and contractors.
Yes.
Who are a part of events and who are trying to get into video.
Yes.
Right? And then the secondary audience for this podcast is our LinkedIn audience, which is it's another thing where it's small business people and marketing people. So knowing that, what can we talk about that's going to be useful to them? And we determined, right? We determined that you know, getting more comfortable on video is a massive opportunity for people, because then you always have a subject, right?
Yes.
You can just turn on your camera. If you maybe show your this is her vlog setup, right? We've got professional stuff where we've got the, can you talk about this real quick?
Yeah. So,
because you can always do a talking head video if you have a little camera setup, right?
Yes. So a little bit of context. When I originally connected with Tim about this, I said, you know, I do video event recaps, which is where the video piece of it comes from. And I fell into video by complete accident. I'm going to be honest about that. And what I did was I essentially brought my camera with me to events, and I just started talking into it like this. This body right here, for those of you that are familiar with DSLRs, this is a DSLR.
Some people will be just listening to this on audio, so you might need to over-explain a little bit.
So, okay, so what we have here is the body of this camera is a DSLR. It's a Canon 80D.
Yeah.
And it takes phenomenal video. The focusing points on this thing are super fantastic. I have just the standard lens body that came with this camera. It's
a 18 to 55 millimeter.
Yes.
Nice.
Super simple. You've got your autofocus and you have a manual focus. Autofocus, I've learned that when you are interviewing someone, or not interviewing someone, but when you're capturing content in a room and there are people that are moving around in the room, you want to make sure that your autofocus is turned off, because otherwise your camera, if there's moving parts in the background of the person that you're trying to interview, your camera's going to make a sound, and then you're going to catch it on your directional microphone.
I think I do that sometimes, so that helps, knowing I should turn off auto.
So it should be turned on to there's a manual focus button right here. You just hear that click, you just turn it on to manual focus, and then you have
It's on the actual lens body to turn it off.
Yes,
Gotcha.
on the actual lens body, and then you have to make sure that, I mean, you got to use the naked eye. And what I do here is this part back here, this folds out. I don't know if you can see this.
So there's
or
a
not.
screen that folds out on the back of the camera.
Yes.
And you can flip it so that they can see themselves if you wanted to. Which, do you do that during interviews?
I do that. We just
because then they can feel a little bit more comfortable. They can glance over it. It's not that crazy.
Yep.
She also, I'm just going to quickly go through the items so that people with short attention spans can stick along with us. So we've got bottom part here, which is kind of, what is this called?
This is called a Gorilla Tripod.
Gorilla Tripod. And I think that, what is that, by Joby?
Yes, by Joby.
So Joby Gorilla.
I think it's a Joby. Maybe it's just Joby. It's been a while since I've looked.
Yeah,
I know that there's Gorilla and Joby.
Yeah.
They might be two different companies.
Yeah. But basically it's a stand on the bottom. It's like an octopus legs. You can attach it to something. You can use it as a stand. You can also just use it kind of as a selfie stick. So it's got a stand on the bottom, and then we've got the shotgun mic.
This is a Shure VP83.
So it's got a little bit of a mic, just for the people listening on audio, it's got a little bit of a mic that extends outward on the top and allows you to grab audio from a subject matter just right in front of you. So those are the key components really of a solid camera setup. That's really all you need, and ultimately just mine is similar, and the whole package from my video setup was like a couple $1,000, and thus I've got a basic studio to do video at any time. I'm not going to say the audio is perfect with my setup, and I think that's why I'm, you know, for the podcast I've got this extra mic here.
Yes.
But in general it's a really solid setup, and I think yours is probably pretty similar. It's like, and it's not that expensive, and video is insanely it's got a much higher engagement rate on every single platform that I've ever done video on compared to written content. That's why I'm so gung-ho on video. Can you give us any other tips that you have for getting other people comfortable on camera? So if you're going around these events, and these small business owners could easily do this, and people pay attention because you've got a camera. So if you were, let's say you were going to a trade show, or you were at a place where a bunch of other contractors are, or small business owners, and you wanted to get access to people, you could easily pop up in their face with the camera, and you could, go for it, go for it.
So what you want to do is, instead of, so Tim Tim and I, we just met today
yeah,
in person.
yeah.
I didn't want to have this camera ready to go and stick it in his face because it's a little bit invasive. You don't want to be invasive.
Okay, yes.
Say, you know, I've got this camera and I'd love to talk to you on camera about this specific product, and
you keep the camera down at your side.
Keep the camera down at your side, or sometimes I just have it with me naturally, carrying it up on my upper torso area for those that are listening from just, you know, from just on the ears, not actually watching the video here. But
what do you mean you carry it? Like
carrying it up here. So I generally carry it up here.
Yeah.
And so it gives people a visual of, oh, she does something with a camera. I don't know what it is. So for those that are listening via podcast, they don't recognize the microphone that I have on top. They don't even look at that. They are just looking at the body of the camera. Yeah. This is 99.9% of the conversations. They're like, oh, you're a photographer. And I said, nope, I do video. They go, oh. And I'm like, yep, there's this microphone on top. They go, oh, that's a microphone? Yeah. They have no idea what it is. So to answer your question is, with the trade show is, or not to answer, but to kind of, to go off on what you were saying there, is always ask for permission, because you don't want to just stick a camera in someone's face. It's an intrusion. It's kind of like touching someone when you haven't quite given permission for them to touch you. I think it's the same exact thing. Okay. Also, cameras don't always, they can be, people aren't always comfortable. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're giving them permission to give you permission. Yeah. I think that that's important. Absolutely. Yeah. And so we love events. So I say, you know, we do SEO. So we help people get higher on Google, but video, I'm saying, is the #1 trend for important thing for marketers to get into for 2020. Events would probably be the third. You know, search in general, video is huge, and then events. So if you knock out 2 with 1 stone, if you got video going and you're attending events, you're ahead of the curve. You've got a lot of things working together. I think people, when they think trade show, the first thing that comes to mind is if they're the event planner, they're already visualizing everything. Yeah. When someone is going to the event, they're maybe not visualizing their focus. Maybe their focus is sales, and they're trying to figure out how am I gonna get to all the people that I need to get to. If there's a video event recap of the setup, of the experience of it, it helps them to plan out maybe their sales strategy, depending on how long they've been a sales. So you have it for the previous year? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Which I think is huge. I think that helps a person plan out how they're going to figure out who they're going to be talking to. You also want to do your research in advance when it comes to trade shows. There should be a website with a list of who is going to be at that trade show. And if you know who your competitors are, but maybe there's a new company that hasn't been there before and you've never heard of them, you can do your research and figure out, you know, what is the conversation going to be. Maybe they're in the video event recap and maybe you didn't see them last year and you had never heard of them before. So that's another thing. It's a visual. You can see their logo design. You can see their face. Those things help. How can we get more out of events if we're attending them? Like, okay, so I see that you know, for a event attendee, or excuse me, event organizer, I think video is like, of course, you should do video, because it's not, like, people expect to see some kind of like visual representation of what that event will be next year. But what about if you're an attendee? What if you're a company going there? Is there any way that you can get more out of that event with video? I think it's getting specific with the questions of what is your main plan of attack? Yeah. What is your goal for going there? Yeah. And if you can put the logos in the video of the companies, if that's your job as the freelance videographer who's hired for this, and you're not, you know, if you're not the competitor, you can just, the sandbox is open for everybody, right? And I'll throw okay, so thinking about a couple events coming up here soon, and I can imagine our contractors or our small businesses that we're doing work for, they could use this as an opportunity to talk to vendors.
So like they work with like, let's say 10 vendors. Like we have a sustainable building company and they build homes, right? And this is what I imagine. I imagine that they could go to each of their people, each of the people that works with them on homes. Like for instance, they work with Studio Gray and Cambria and these different brands, where they could go talk to them and say, hey, what's one thing about your product that's absolutely incredible? And they could do this essentially in a way to then touch with those people afterwards and essentially get another social piece of content out of it. They could literally cut this up for each vendor and do it as a promotion. That vendor has a reason to then share their content out to the world. Mm-hmm. And I think what I love about video and with vendors and just like referral partners, if you're going for leads, like let's say like a lot of the people that listen to this might be trying to get more leads, for instance. I think that each one of those videos then becomes an opportunity for you to get into your referral partner's social. And to me, that's one of the things that I think a lot of small businesses could be using video more for in 2020. What is your video strategy around referrals, around increasing referrals and increasing referrals with social? So we've talked about video, we've talked about events, now I'm talking about social. Taking video and really complementing your existing social media strategy, and this is for advanced companies, right? Companies that know what they're doing on social, that have somebody either working on social or they're pretty aggressive about social. But if you are aggressive about social, why not do a little video for each of your referral partners, for each of the vendors? And you could do that, especially these niche down companies, by going to that trade show and really making a little video that makes them look cool. Mm-hmm. Make your referral, this is my biggest takeaway from like my side of this podcast, is just make your referral partners look cool.
Mm-hmm. My goal, no matter what, no matter who I'm working with, is to help someone else shine on camera. Yeah. If I can do that, then I have done my job. If I've made a video event recap where it makes the other person wish they would have gone to the event, I've done my job.
Exactly.
If I can find, what was I gonna say? If I can, it goes back to, here's a very basic way to do it. If you can put a sandbox in the room and say, let's play nice, and if you, even though you're competitors, you can still help each other, right? To a certain degree. Yeah, you still have your numbers to reach, but if you can each agree to somehow do a partnership with each other from a video standpoint, I don't know what that would look like specifically.
That would be cool though, because like we're going to an event coming up here soon. I think it's in February with 2 competitors, and I do think it will be awkward mildly.
It would be, but it also.
But I could see it being cool.
It can be cool. It depends. There's a right way to do it, and then there's a not quite right way to do it.
Well, if you're trying to make them look like shit, that might be the. So come over and we're gonna do video.
There's got to be a partnership agreement.
Yeah. Okay.
In writing, right?
Yeah.
It's always got to be in writing.
Okay.
And the thing is that we all have the same goal. Make the sale. Yeah. Help yourself. You got to make yourself look good. That's. I mean, these are givens, right? Yeah. Let's just be honest here. But if there's a way that you can all play friendly, play nice rather. Yeah. If you can play nice, everyone wins in the end.
I have a question for you. So you've been talking about event video recaps. If somebody's putting on an event, and we have very smart contractors that do put on their own events sometimes. I know Cambria looks at our stuff sometimes, and I think that there's we have a contractor who's also doing basically an event space, and they're planning on putting on more events. So if you were to utilize this on a regular basis, what is an event video recap?
Event video recap is an opening of, okay, where is this space? What does it look like on the outside? Give people a visual. Get takeaways. Get what I have to do every single time, or what I choose to do rather, my approach is I approach someone in the room and I ask them questions and I get really specific. Sometimes I'm sometimes I'm vlogging like this, so
Yeah.
for those who are listening, I have the camera pointed at myself and the other person I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am directing, so I'm behind the camera and I'm asking them questions. So for those, again, who are listening, I'm not in front of the camera is in front of my body, and I have it pointed at the person who I'm asking the questions to.
Yeah.
That is one thing that I do, is I say, you know, what are you hoping for takeaways? Why did you come here?
Yeah.
And if I can get that content for the event and I can get nuggets from that, then I have essentially helped someone else understand, hey, this might, if this is a consistent event that's going on month after month after month after month, not only are they getting takeaways, they're also getting a name and they're getting a voice and they're getting a human in front of the camera. They're watching a human on camera and they're like, oh, I recognized you from so-and-so video. You said this about something. It triggers that, and then they're able to maybe find a commonality from that, because why else do you go to an event?
Yeah, exactly. And let's say you have the ideal scenario. Let's say you have video from the last event and you're hoping to do video after this event. So you're starting to film, but like, what are your suggestions for pre and post event videos? What's the ideal scenario as far as like the types of videos that are going out before and after the event?
The ideal scenario is to help your client or partner shine.
Yeah. So like, if you would you suggest like a really long video, like let's say 3 videos, a bunch of small ones?
Not a long video, short videos.
Yeah. Okay. More videos, and then like kind of stagger them beforehand, and then stagger them afterwards.
No more than, I would say, no more than 2 minutes tops.
Okay.
Some videos don't need to be more than 30 seconds. Sometimes you have a really, when you are recording a panel, you listen to your gut and you go, okay, when are they gonna say something that's gonna be a super valuable takeaway?
Yeah.
Like, what was the point of people coming to this event?
Yeah.
You don't always need to be recording, because that can suck memory sometimes, which, you know, when you're running low on memory, which does happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Just be.
I'm checking my. Oh, it's still recording. Okay.
Still recording.
Yeah.
If you are, if you've got this gut feeling of they're going to say something, press the record button.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that I do is I have a jack here. For those who are just listening via the podcast, I have a mic jack on my DSLR, but I also have a headphone jack. I'll plug in my headphones and I'll listen, because it's directional microphone. If I have it pointed at the subject, then I can make sure that I'm capturing the content appropriately. So that's another thing.
That's good. So, what should people expect if they, let's say they hire, imagine somebody is a smart event organizer and decides to hire you as far as doing video. What is something that they can expect as far as a positive result from their experience?
They can expect me to be communicating. If they send me an email, my goal is to communicate with them within a 24 to 48 hour period.
That's more than you can hope for some vendors, right?
Yes.
All right.
I work as quickly as I possibly can. I get very focused. Another thing is that when I am pulling together a video, it might not be a vision that I would have come up with.
Yeah.
It's their vision. Okay. So whatever they're looking for, that's what I'm going to present to them. I was just editing a video yesterday for a client, and as I was putting the video together, I'm like, this isn't necessarily going to make them shine, but it's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And if you can deliver what that client is looking for, that's your end goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we love video here at Hook Agency, and you love video, and we believe in it for 2020. So, and I think part of it is starting, right? You got to start doing more video. Wherever you're at, you need to start doing more video. Just
start.
Even if you're just flipping your phone around and doing an Instagram live or something, or an Instagram story or whatever it happens to be, and that's a great starting place, right? And then secondly, people need to up the game as far as their systems around video, right? They need to make sure that when they're doing an event, that they have a video person there. They need to make sure that they, on the post side, that they are making sure that they have a system down for getting video out. Because sometimes people collect video and then they never really publish at a schedule after the event to do the post-event videos that really get people excited about going again next time.
The thing about video is it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Your definition of perfect is different from someone else's definition of perfect.
But over time, your systems should be getting better, right?
They should be getting, yes.
So you need to find what those things are. For us, I like, on LinkedIn, we do the square videos a lot where we've got like a spicy title up top and subtitles beneath. We've got that system down. I don't actually even touch those videos all the time now. We have somebody that does it, right? And we've got other things where we essentially have systems that have gotten into place that get more out of our video. So you don't just want to capture, you want to publish. And it helps to have somebody, an accountability with you, like yourself, and it helps to practice. So practice, then slowly get your systems in place. And thank you so much for being part of the podcast today and being on these videos. And where can people find you online?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Rachel C. Ryan. You can find me on Instagram, Rachel C. Ryan 09. Actually, the middle of in between on Instagram. It's all one word.
The middle of in between.
Yes.
So check out the middle of in between. And thank you for listening to the Next Level Contractor Podcast. We'll be here every Monday at 7 a.m. No bullshit. Helping small businesses and construction companies be more profitable with better leads and better systems. Hookagency.com, @HookAgency all over social. And thanks for joining us. See you next Monday. Bye.